Arsenal nil, Manchester United nil is the final score in what was a game that could have gone either way. It's probably fair to say. Man United had arguably two of the best chances of the game. Edinson Cavani sparing Arsenal's blushes in certain points of the game, but Nicola Pepe with an excellent display from the Ivorian, both offensively and, for something that we have not said too many times, defensively. The Ivorian was absolutely sublime. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get your thoughts and your comments in the live chat box. This is the Raw Reaction Show, so let's crack on with it. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Raw Reaction series where we react to the latest Arsenal news, matches, transfers, etc., etc., and get your thoughts in the chat box as well. It was 0-0 is what it was. It was 0-0. And to be honest, my reflection at the end of the game, as we like to do this, have a short reflection, and we'll get your thoughts in the chat box. I'll be putting your thoughts and feelings into the comments and reacting to how I feel about this. Arsenal with no Tierney, with no Saka, with no Aubameyang, managed to come out of a 0-0 draw where they could have won, could have lost. Very fine margins. Bellerin, poor. Very, 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 very poor. We cannot get Tierney back soon enough to get Cedric playing on that right back position. Partey, poor. This is coming from someone that really, really likes Thomas Partey, but did not feel he had the best of games today. To be fair, in the midfield was not as influential as he was at Old Trafford earlier on in the season. Granit Xhaka, quite a good game. Like to have seen him go forward a bit more. Still going backwards a little bit too often. Gabriel Martinelli defensively. What a performance from Martinelli going back in the other direction. Was absolutely brilliant. Nicola Pepe, what can we say? I don't know how David Luiz got man of the match over that man. He was excellent. Nicolas Pepe was unbelievably good today. He was just missing a goal to cap off the performance. Really good, strong defensively. Got back, protected Bellerin, spared his blushes on so many occasions. Really solid, really, really solid. And I just think that if we'd had a Saka playing there, maybe we would have got something. Lacazette didn't really get a sniff. Not too many today. Won a couple of fouls in advantageous positions, and the ones that we did win, those free kicks and corners, we did not take our set pieces. Besides Lacazette hitting the bar again, very fine margins in this match. But ultimately, I want to know what you feel about the outcome of this game. Is a point a good result for Arsenal? Is it a good move going forwards? Yes, it's disappointing that we didn't get the win, but I think considering the game and how it played out and the situation of the teams around us, Wolves losing, Chelsea obviously lost drawing last week, of course, and they will face a tough fixture very, very soon. And then you've got Man United dropping points in the week. They've dropped 5 points this week. Man United of a possible 6. They've only won 1. You've then got Liverpool dropping points in different positions. We're hoping that Spurs and Liverpool again themselves will drop points again. Everton losing today means that we catch up to them by another point, just 2 points behind Everton's side that do have a game in hand. It is a big point in my view, a big, big point. And one of those games that you feel that had we have not been the defensive resolute selves that we have been, we may not have come out of that match with 3 points. Let's go through some of your comments, you absolute legends, you flying fish crew in the chat box. O'Malley says, great performance considering we were missing 3 or 4 of our best players. Conrad says, what a stressful game. Whisper it. Pepe and Willian were good today. Willian, it was okay when he came on. I'm not willing to say he was considering the standards we've been used to, but I thought Pepe was. Willian had his best game so far. Tierney was missed, and when will this Kane shove be punished? Yeah, I'd say an interesting one. Lacazette arguably doing the same thing that Kane did not look at the player, was fully focused on the ball it seemed, but didn't jump, ducked underneath Paul Pogba, went unpunished. Made in Brooklyn, thank you so much for the super chat, saying, if you asked me before the match if I'd take a point without Alba, Saka and Tierney, I would say absolutely. Smashing that. Teng Wang says, you're spot on with the analysis, Tom. Appreciate that, mate. Rodney says, Willian should have won the game. He had a great chance on the left-hand side. If you were going to let that ball fall to anyone, the last person I would have picked for that to fall to would have been Willian. Charles says, Yeah, good performance. I'll take the point, and hopefully we'll have the full team out next match. Juan says, Manu Clerks are talking about the same Willian. If that was his best game, we do not need him anymore. JD says, 3 of our best players in Saka, Tierney and Aubameyang missing, and we still had a good game. Xhaka better than Partey. Wow. Didn't think I would ever say that. He was. You cannot say to me that Xhaka did not have a better game. Did not have a better game. He certainly did have a better game than Partey. Good to see Pepe back at it again with the White Vans. Can't help but say that, can you? Tomodo says, was a fair result in the end. What it does show is how much we need Saka and Tierney on Tuesday. Without them, I am excited. I don't know about you. I'm excited. I'm excited to go to Wolves, which is not a place that usually I'm excited about going to or playing that team. I want to get revenge. I want to get revenge against Wolves for the game the other week. This point does not set us back too badly in the whole context of the season, the context of the games that we've played. Another clean sheet, another unbeaten game. The Tom and Hugh Wizzy combination is continuing resolutely. Loving that fact. Not seen us lose a game with Hugh so far this season. Kene says, Tom, I don't like talking about Willian anymore. I just want to hear he cancelling his contract. He doesn't run to drag defenders. Balaji says Partey had an off game, looked lack of fitness maybe. Maybe he's been playing too much since coming back from his injury. John P says Partey was a shadow of himself. Today he did not step up to the usual levels that we have seen. Dylan says, feel like Wan-Bissaka could have been sent off. It was a ref. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this red card possibility because Bruno cheating little moron. Bruno Fernandes, love him as a player. Got a shirt from Sporting Lisbon with his name on the back because I enjoyed him so much watching him in Portugal. But since moving to Manchester United, is it just me or has he become a little whining child of a player? Because that is certainly how I felt watching his game. And I feel, I don't know about you, but I feel that a stamp down the back of Granit Xhaka's Achilles was worthy of a red card in the situation. With the context, it was spiteful. It was just after the clash with Cedric, who I thought did not deserve to be booked at all for that clash. There were instances where players did deserve to be booked and they weren't on both sides, but Cedric definitely felt too harshly done by the referee there. Oliver had a terrible, terrible game, to be honest. Had a couple of things that he got right, but Bruno could have been sent off. Really could have been sent off. Manu Clerk says Bruno is out of control. Red. I don't think got anything, did he? Absolutely nothing. Suraj says clear red. Xhaka had to cry some more for the ref to go to VAR. Manu says that he feels as though that was a yellow. Jermaine says, Tom, I was so impressed with Arsenal. They played like a team. Everyone did. Nico agrees with me, saying that the ref was woeful, absolutely woeful. John P points out this is a purple card or an orange card, the between points. Interesting you say purple. Never heard of that. Orange card for me. In between a yellow and a red, but he didn't get anything, absolutely nothing. Tom points out that VAR should have at least requested for the ref to go watch the replays on the screen. They chose not to. Just Add Chemical X says Bernd Leno has been solid, so solid for us. It's no coincidence we have been the second best defensive record in the league. Once again, Arsenal getting another clean sheet under Mikel Arteta. How long have we craved, wanted, hoped for, dreamed of a coach that instills defensive solidity in this Arsenal team? And we have got a coach that has brought that to Arsenal. If we sort that final third, and you have got a hell of a team building with the midfield. Also, if you can add another centre midfielder alongside Thomas Partey, we've got opportunities, guys. We've got the chances. We have got the potential to see a really special side if we can just get the players in the right positions during the summer. Michael Velasquez says, who was your man of the match? Who was my man of the match? I want to know who your man of the match was. For me, it must have been Nicola Pepe. Absolutely brilliant game from the Ivorian. Offensively, had a couple of chances. I love the step overs. It was like poetry in motion for a moment. It was like time went in slow motion seeing those step overs or feints or whatever you want to call them. Just couldn't quite get the final touch. But defensively was where I was most impressed with Pepe. He looked like a man that knows that he has to fight for that position. He knows that whatever he has to do has to keep on pushing, pressing, defending for his life to win that role. It seems that Arteta has got this kind of mentality instilled in the team that they just have to press and win the ball back and fight if they want to be in this team. He was unbelievably good today. Defensively. Ian Freiter, I'm so sorry. Ian Freiter says, If you can't win, don't lose. Considering how many big players were missing, we did very, very well. United couldn't take advantage of that, so a draw was the right result, I think. We've taken 4 points off them all season. 4 points from 6 is absolutely brilliant. Daniel Roberts says, David Luiz, man of the match. Dylan says, Pepe. For me, it's Pepe or Holding, says Michael. JD says, Pepe. Iron Cub says, David Luiz. Tiger Martin says, Pepe or Holdinho. Preston Cannavaro was absolutely fantastic today. Once again, absolutely smashed it. Manu Clerk says, for me, it was Lacazette as man of the match. Wow, that is a bit of a turn up for the books. Igbo says Xhaka was his man of the match today. Abhinav says Luiz has been voted man of the match by Sky. I did see that. We commented on it. I was a little bit surprised. I thought he was good. I thought Pepe was excellent. Dilly says Pepe was superb and was the threat all game. Abe says my man of the match was Holding. No sleep, says David Luiz. Arsenal for life says, at the end of the day, United couldn't score past us with 3 of our best players missing. Ewan Bergkamp says, stop gassing it. We literally drew, Tom. And this is the mentality problem within some of the fan base. If you can't identify the positives from this game, I give up. You're a lost cause. I can't do it anymore. I can't try and convince you. It's done for me. It's over. There are just lost causes in this fan base. If you can't look at this game as a positive, it's done for me. Like, it's a lost cause. I'm not going to change your mind. Your mind is not going to be changed. Hilmi says David Luiz man of the match. Solid performance from the skipper. Was he captain today? Was he captain, David Luiz? If he was, interesting. I didn't know if he was captain because Aubameyang weren't playing. I didn't know that he'd come out. I think about it. Yeah, he was. He was the first man to walk out. Interesting stuff from there. Matt G says, do we know anything about Lacazette's injury? Was it too bad? We don't know anything right now. Absolutely nothing. JT says, how many bookings do you think Maguire should have had? I mean, they had so many bookings today. They could have had so many men sent off, and they didn't. And I don't really understand why. Abhinav says Bellerin was captain. Okay, so Bellerin was captain today and was arguably the worst performer on the pitch. I've defended Bellerin so many times. I can't count. You guys know that I have laughed my head off and you've laughed at me with how good Cedric has been. And I'll take that. I'll take the comedy value of it. I really will. I can't defend it. I can't defend that performance from Bellerin. It was our weak link. He gave the ball away. He lost the ball in silly situations. He couldn't progress the ball. His ball in the final third was poor. He offered nothing really going forwards. Really, really disappointed. Really disappointed with Hector Bellerin today. Really did not at all like his performance. Let me know what you think in the chat box. If you've got any specific questions, we're going to answer your questions as best we can. We're going to go for the next 10 to 15 more minutes, so you guys can ask some questions in the chat, and we're going to try and get through as many of those as feasibly possible. If you haven't already, please make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, turn those notifications on so you never miss a show. I could not possibly talk faster. You know what happens when, a bit of Brewdog and I'm talking faster than I usually ever do. That is the combination. Tom and Brewdog, apparently it's a hipster beer. I don't know what this is. I got called a hipster in Hugh's chat today for drinking a bit of Brewdog. I don't think it's very hipster. I think Brewdog's pretty mainstream right now. It's not that I want to be mainstream. I'm just pointing it out. That's all I'm saying. Daniel Ogbonya. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, and I apologise. He says, wasn't it Bellerin who set up Pepe's chances? Yes, he set up a chance. One chance does not, for me, turn around and forgive a whole performance. It just doesn't. Matt G says, Tom, give Bellerin a break. He didn't make any foul throws. I thought you were going to criticise me. But no, yeah, you're spot on, mate. He is completely absolved of all. To be fair, though, he didn't. But he did throw a throw straight to a Man United player, though, didn't he? I'm sure that happened. Bulgaria Grinner says, that an indigenous? Oh, Mike's going to laugh if he watches. He doesn't watch the shows. It's Mike. He doesn't watch my shows. He only comes on them. Jack Webb says, Tom, Odegaard's touch and pass with outstanding man of the match. He had one touch, basically. He wasn't able to get on the game too much. Good to give him some minutes. That's all I would say about that. Interesting to see how much he plays on Tuesday. Will he give Smith Rowe a bit of a rest? He's played a lot of football, Smith Rowe. Maybe they will give him a bit of a rest and bring Odegaard in. It'll be interesting to see if he does do that. Our good friend, Dave Lennon, absolute legend. Make sure you're giving him a follow in the Discord server. Says, I'm taking that result, Tom. We had a load of players out. Great defensive performance. By the way, Brewdog is very mainstream. Yeah, exactly. It never used to be. I remember drinking it back in the day when it was just Punk IPA, and that was it. I was introduced to it when? Can't remember when I was introduced to Brewdog, but it is a go-to for me for my IPAs and stuff like that. It's just very nice. Lots of different flavors. They're not sponsoring me. I wish they did sponsor me, but they don't. We're sponsored by Football Prizes. This week's prize. Do you want to know what? Should we reveal to you what this week's prize at Football Prizes is this week? Which will, of course, we were winning. Daniel Sharp won the signed Thierry Henry shirt, which is an excellent, wonderful, wonderful prize. Now, younger listeners are going to get a bit of an education now into this week's prize, which will, of course, be revealed who the winner of that will be next Friday. But it is a 1971 doubles winners signed and framed shirt by 9 legends. Have signed this, including Sammy Nelson, Bob McNabb, Frank McClintock, Bob Wilson, Peter Marinello, John Samuels, Pat Rice, as well as FA Cup final goal scorers Charlie George and Eddie Kelly have all signed this fantastic prize. That will be the prize for this week. Thank you to our sponsors, Football Prizes. If you would like to have a chance of winning that, just go to the link in the description, buy a ticket, and members, of course, will get a chance. Last week, Ed was so close. He was so close, our member. 53 he had, and the winning ticket was number 50. So close. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and liking the video if you're enjoying the content. We'll be back tomorrow as well with a podcast, but we're going to be sticking around here for another 10 to 15 minutes to answer some of your questions this evening. Suraj says, is it possible to have a midfield of Emile Smith-Rowe, Partey and Odegaard in a 4-3-3? Anything's possible, mate. Anything is possible in football, but what I would say is that it is a little bit too open for me, especially against Man United. Maybe if we're playing against a Sheffield United, a Burnley, a Fulham, a Brighton, one of those sides, maybe we had the opportunity to get one of those, play one of those systems, be a little bit more open, creative. But it is open. It is very, very open. Very, very open indeed. Leno's crucial save from Fred, shot from outside the box, as pointed out by JT. Fantastic point there. Kane says, Tom talking like he was born in 1970. No, born in 1994, mate. 1994, but there is this amazing thing called the internet, which does allow you to go back and watch the amazing stuff. I mean, the 70s for Arsenal was not the best time for us. 1971, signed by 9 FA Cup winners. But other than the fact that we, just Liam Brady was a standout player in the 1970s and playing on some horrific pitches. But other than that, it was a pretty dour time for Arsenal, especially those mid to late 70s. So turn things around. And by the late 80s, Arsenal then got back into that kind of winning form and won that league again in 1989. But it's an amazing thing. Maybe you should educate yourselves about Arsenal's past. It's certainly one worth doing. Daniel Ogbo says, another quality game from Smith-Rowe today. I thought it was a solid 7 out of 10 for me from Smith-Rowe. The reason why it wasn't higher is there was a couple of opportunities, a couple of passes that were just a little bit underpowered. Could have played them through, didn't get them quite right, lost the ball in a couple of areas, but I am nitpicking. He was still very good. Fair play to him. Lord Gunnar says, was very anxious before the game, but this is a fair result given the catalogue of injuries that we have. And you have to say the chances that Man United squandered. Edinson Cavani, again, missing big chances against Arsenal. I remember a Champions League game against PSG where he missed a bucket load of chances against us. Again, massive stuff from Leno. As pointed out from plenty of you in the chat box, he was absolutely brilliant today. Fair play to Bernd Leno. I'm so glad that this rhetoric of just utterly slandering Bernd Leno when actually he is a very good performer for us, and there is no need to bring up the other guy's name. He's gone. He's elsewhere. Move on with your lives. Matt Ryan had a bit of an issue. That's why Runnison was our backup keeper today, and that's why we need to bring in these backup keepers, because injuries can happen to keepers. It happens. Wilson, thank you. Absolute legend in the chat box, always tuning in. Always an absolute pleasure to have you here, Wilson. Says, was this a game, a point gained, or was it 2 points dropped? For me, it was definitely a point gain, mate, with the game, the way it played out, with the injuries that we had. 100% a point gain today. I'd be interested to know in the chat box, how are you feeling? Is this a point gain for you? Is it 2 points dropped? Are you positive? Are you encouraged? Are you pleased? Are you okay with this result? No one's going to be happy with a draw. We get that. But I think for me, this was a strong point. I thought we were competitive throughout this game. We got 4 points from 6 from Man United this season, which is very good. Arteta has got us competing in these games, and that is really, really positive. I think that if we'd have had Saka in the team today, if we'd have had Tierney, we would have been a lot better. Interestingly, though, it might be interesting to know, if I'd have said to you and this is obviously a very hypothetical situation. If I'd have said to you in this game that Tierney and Saka are going to be rested, I know they're out injured. If they were going to say we're going to rest those players and we can get a draw against Man United, but it means that we get them back and we win against Wolves, would you take that? Because if you'd have said that it's a gamble and that you play Tierney and Saka and you gamble this game and you gamble both games, I think, I'd be much more inclined to have them for the Wolves game, because I think that's a game that Arsenal really need to win. Really need to win that game against Wolves on Tuesday. It's a big, big, big game. And Arsenal need to come out of that game with something. Balaji says, considering the catalogue of possible injuries, do you see us resting a few players against Wolves like Partey and Emile Smith-Rowe? Maybe. But whoever is rested, hopefully now Tierney and Saka and Ødegaard might come in. I think that, just having Ødegaard there makes me feel so much more confident about the depth that is in this Arsenal team, for sure. Definitely so. And Aslan, sorry, says, I'm sure that's a lion. Aslan, Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, says there were phases where Xhaka bossed that midfield today. Positive vibes only. Hey, Yonic Matt. Calling out Yonic, says Hilby. Yonic, our resident negative Nelly, in the chat box. JD says Martinelli will do much better than Nketiah as a striker. Runs at defenders, better link-up play, better finishing and end product. Arteta has said that Gabby's future is as a striker. If Aubameyang's not back and Saka is, I genuinely, and Lacazette, of course, not playing there as well, I'd be interested to play Martinelli up top against Wolves on Tuesday. Might be a possible thing. Jun Bergkamp, loving to get his negative rhetoric into the chat box, saying, how was it a point game? We had more possession and chances. We should have won. Obviously, 2 points dropped. I think, again, your mentality is a little bit skew with, mate. And I'll take a look at yourself, son. Lewis Kiriakou says, this is hashtag trust the process point. 4 points off Man United this season, and without our best two players, this season shows you the coach has the tactical and coaching pedigree. Spot on, mate. Loving your positivity, son. Jashar says, hi, Tom. Do you think there will be more incomings? If so, who will leave out of our 25-man squad? Mustafi is, for me, the obvious candidate to leave out of the squad. And I'll be interested to... let's stop saying that. I'll be intrigued to know who it is we go for. Maybe the cover at left-back is a lot more key than we want. Let's not be using that negative Nelly's name in the chat box, people. Again, the best way to deal with these negative Nellies is to, you don't talk about them. You ignore them. You move away from them. You block them. You move them. You mute them. You don't give them the attention that they're desperately craving. We do this at TGT in a positive way. We look at things. We support the Gunners. We support Arsenal, and we back our coaches, and we do what we can to give our best support. We're critical when we need to be, and criticisms is part of football, and you should be critical at times. But ultimately, we're Arsenal fans, and the best way to move forward, and why you tune in for this channel over other channels, is that we're going to be talking about Arsenal positively, and we're going to be making sure that we criticise when criticisms are fair and justified, but we're going to back the team, and that is the most important thing about Arsenal and supporting the team for sure, 100%. Hilby says 2 points dropped for Cavani. Cavani could have won that game very, very easily for Man United, and he missed two massive chances. Jack Webb says, Tom, is it just me, or was that Willian's best performance since Fulham? And he only played for a half of a match. And you have to say that, yes, it was Willian's best game. I think that says more about Willian negatively, though, than it probably does positively. Joker Todd 80 says, can't really be that unhappy with the performance. Neither team deserved to win, and we were without our best players. Akene says, Tom, why is Rob Holding so underappreciated? Because he's not fanciful, mate. He's just one of those players that people don't really want to get the back of. They want to be whingy, and they want to whinge about Saliba maybe getting more minutes than Holding. I sat here and defended that man for 6 months while people were telling me that Saliba had to be coming in for Holding. Are you mad? Looks a bit silly now because he's an unbelievably good centre-back, it's fair to say. At the same time, I was also backing Bellerin, and I look a bit silly for that. So, it swings and roundabouts. Swings and roundabouts. England call-up, says Hilmy. I wouldn't be surprised, mate. Would not be surprised. Is he playing better than Connor Cody? Hell yes. He's playing better than Connor Cody right now. Is he playing better than Michael Keane? Yes, he is playing better than Michael Keane. Is he playing better than John Stones? I think they're probably on par right now of how excellent they've both been. John Stones and Holding. Who's the other one? Maguire. And the amount of centre-backs you pick from, you get about 4 or 5 in the squad. Mings, is he better than Mings? Yeah, of course he's better than Mings right now. He should be getting an England call-up, Holding. It would be his first one, his first cap, I believe. Deserves it, 100%. I think there's international fixtures in March. Holding is in for a shout. Has to be in for a shout for England, 100%, mate. Dilly says, Holdinho got bare clean sheets this season, deserving of the captain's armband. How things change. I'm loving this. Check Perk, who I know tuned in for Hughes' watch along. Thank you, mate. I saw your message of support. Really appreciate that, mate. Says, to be fair, Holding struggled for a long while, but he is definitely on track now, and it's great to see. Karthik says, Tom, how many points do you think we'll get from the next 4 fixtures? It's a good question because we've got some tough games coming up. Even though they're tough games, arguably our most difficult one was today, along with the Leicester game. We've got Man City, though, which is a big one. We've got Wolves away. I'm really confident about that. I think that we could get a victory in that game. Aston Villa, you have to be looking at that game and saying that we want revenge. We want to turn them over at Villa Park after what happened at the Emirates earlier on in the season. Same with Wolves. We've got opportunities to get revenge in these fixtures. Leeds at home. Big game again. None of the next 3 games we play, we didn't beat any of these teams in the league earlier on in the season. If we can get 3 wins from these 3 games, that is massive for Arsenal. And then we play Man City at home, and that is a real barometer of kind of the progress. I don't know why I said that. The progress that Arsenal have made is going to be measured in that game against Man City, and I think that has followed up by very soon a Leicester game. It is indeed away at Leicester after the game against Manchester City. Very, very difficult fixtures Arsenal have got coming up in the season. I want to know, to sum up today's game in one word, we need to sum these games up in one word at the end of the games. It's how we finish off our Raw Reaction show. So if you could sum up today's game in one word, I would much appreciate that. While you are getting those comments into the back, I'll be looking up and giving you a sneak peek of who is going to be on tomorrow's podcast for the game against Manchester United. I will be joined by an absolute stellar cast of guests, as I will be joined by Drew and Adam and John. Now, if you want a podcast lineup, that is a podcast lineup. So make sure you join me, Drew, John, and Adam tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. UK time, because it's going to be a hell of a podcast as we discuss the game and look ahead to the Wolves match and also the end of the transfer window, which is going to be a big talking point as we head towards Monday's deadline. There's going to be some interesting games over the next couple of days that we're going to be making sure that we tune into and finding out. Of course, if you'd like a chance to appear on this prestigious, positive show, then you need to join up as an expert or a TGT ambassador member. You can join our Discord server. You can get access to the wonderful positive nature. If you think that Twitter's not for you, if you get fed up, if you are fed up with being abused and disrespected and ignored on social media, then you want to join our Discord server because it's full of absolutely brilliant people, some flying fish legends. Let's have some flying fish flying about in the chat box, people. Thibaut Pesk describes our game as progress. Czech Perk says disciplined. Manu Clerk says sweaty. I wouldn't describe it as sweaty. It's a cheeky little wins when something's sweaty. Hilmi doesn't understand the process of one word, but I'll take it anyway. Says well deserved. Teng Wang says relief. Tulip also says progress. Matt Thornton says solid. You see, this is the community we grow in the chat box. This is the positiveness that you join in for every single week. If you want positive Arsenal feedback, then you come to this chat. It's not deluded. It's not biased. It's just level-headed. It's not looking for a reaction. It's not looking for a clickbait. It's none of that stuff. It is people talking realistically about football and getting behind their team. That is what we come for, and that's what you should subscribe. That's what you should subscribe for, is what I meant to say. KG says, "Is so what? Unlucky." Omar, our negative Nelly. Omar, and you throw me in the unlucky. I'll take that. I think that's positive, mate. I think that's positive. I'll take that, mate. Really good. Positive turnaround from you. I appreciate it, mate. Frustrating, says Corey. Crossbar, says Teng Wan. Discipline, says Colton. Process Gress, says no sleep. I like that. Daniel Roberts says cover miss. I love that. Love it. He's just missing so many chances. Resolute, says Lewis. Really good descriptive adjectives coming through this evening. Matthews de Souza says, happy though I am with the draw, we need to beat Wolves now to make this an even better point. Absolutely spot on. Omar, you're negative, mate. I'm labelling you, son. For my chat, for my community, You're one of my negative Nellies. I want you to turn it around. I want you to grow, Omar. I want you to get better. I want you to prove to me that you are not part of that side of things. I want you to cross the divide. Turn to the light, mate. Turn to the light. Be positive. I want you putting those comments in back in Arteta. I want you seeing dropping those likes onto the videos, guys. I want to make sure that you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you can drop a like on the video, today's video. I've said video about 5 times. I'm going to say it again, video. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys. As always, we're back again tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. for the podcast. And if there's any news that drops, we will be making sure to cover that in the afternoon. We're back again on Tuesday for the Let's Talk Arsenal show, and on Monday there'll be some news. There's some exciting interviews coming out on 101. I spoke to Toronto FC's 18-year-old wonder kid Ralph Priso. There is an interview out with him on 101 already. I'm also going to be chatting to a couple of other people. I'm looking forward to chatting to a couple of Swedish wonder kids. I'm going to be chatting to I'm going to be talking to some Benfica wonder kids. It's going to get excited. I'm going to be talking to some players at Udinese for 101 as well. It's getting really good. I'm liking the thought of football journalism. Is just great. Connections. It's wonderful. Love talking to actual real life footballers about their journeys. None of this, the media stuff, trying to drag out stories. We're going to learn some young kids and the progress that they've made, the development they are coming through in the world of football. We're going to talk to a Norwegian wonder kid. This isn't on the channel. These are going to be written articles coming out on 101 Great Goals. So make sure you tune in for that. We will see you again very, very soon. You absolute legends, people. We'll see you again tomorrow for the podcast. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. As always, keep it positive, keep it real, keep it Arsenal, keep it the Gooner Talk. We'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal and cheerio.